$1 is what I need, and if I share with you my story,
did we get a pen?
$1 would be. Bad times are coming, and I'll reap what I done sow. Hey, hey. Well, let me tell you something, all that glitters ain't gold. Hey, hey. It's been a long old.
Hey, what's up out there in stolen Ohlone Lashawn land?
What's up? What's up?
What's up? What's up? We are the Poverty Scholars, that houseless mama, that houseless daughter. We are all the people you don't want to see, never want to be. Look away from me. What you gonna do? Arrest me? We're in your city. Yeah, I'm a poverty scholar. That's why I rock this jailhouse attire, because me and my poor mama did jail time just trying to stay alive in this holler. I'm also standing and sitting here for all my fellow poverty scholars who aren't sitting and standing here, whose lives are criminalized every day in America KKK for the sole act of sitting and standing and being while being a person of color, while being unhoused in this stolen occupied territory. And sometimes I just like to break down, you know, a little bit of the fit. So I'm wearing my my jail suit. I only did 3 months hard time. Yeah, because if you don't know out there in YouTubelandia and all the other spaces and places on the digital streets and the physical streets, it's a crime in Americland to be unhoused. Me and Mama were sleeping in our car, and for the sole act of sleeping in our car, sleeping in doorways, sleeping on curbs, sleeping on so-called public land, not occupied indigenous territory, we were cited and eventually arrested when I was 18 and did 3 months in Santa Rita. All that to say, people like me are invisibilized because this society perpetrates what I call the violent act of looking away. That means if you don't look at people like me, you can be okay. And let me break it down to you. That's a lie that you're all being told, and we need to decolonize our minds because none of us will survive if we don't start practicing interdependence and move away from the cult of independence that is perpetrated like candy in these bloodstained streets. So all that is a segue to talk about our brother Shalim Tyndall, Ibaye. Shalom. May he rest in power. A son, a father, a brother, a powerful son to Yolanda Banks Reed, to Sister Yolanda Banks Reed, to all the beautiful sisters and brothers in the Hebrew cultural community based in the stolen village of Yalamu, who was actually murdered by Bart Police about 3-4 weeks ago, whose life will not be taken in vain, who was a Poor Magazine family member, just like all the beautiful Hebrew cultural community who we had the blessing of being part of our family, being part of our liberation, who liberate every day with their culture as indigenous peoples in this pan-indigenous world that is run by these stolen land perpetrators. So I want to call this story out because the family is asking that all of you revolutionaries out there show up at 10:30 a.m. at the West Oakland BART station on Tuesday, February 13th. Again, 10:30 a.m., Tuesday, February 13th. Show up for the familia of Shalim Tyndall. Because right now, there's a cover-up going on. And as usual with Police terror, the cover-up is loud and proud, and the peoples are moving with impunity as they pick off our warriors one day at a time. But that's got to stop, and we aren't going to let it continue. And as fellow poverty indigenous scholars, we will be there. So this is a shout out to Anti-Police Terror Project, to Black Lives Matter, to all of the liberators and revolutionary housing and homelessness and police terror resistors, to ACE, to the Causa Justa, to everybody who walks in the stolen land. Please show up for the familia because they're asking for folks to stand there shoulder to shoulder to help them get justice. Ibaye to Shalim Tyndall. My last report today is what I call the gentrification displacement report. As we all know, the grant pimps and the philanthropimps will tell us that there is somehow a difference between the issues of unhoused people and tenants. Like somehow the fact that we have a roof for a minute makes us different. Well, actually we're the same. So the story of Auntie Frances facing eviction and stolen Wichin land called North Oakland, to the connection of Iris Canada, Ibaye in San Francisco, at Yalamu, killed because of greed from the Gentry Tech Nation, to the story of the unhoused people in Berkeley today who were evicted from public land. I want to call them out right now, and I want to shout out to their resistance and to their refusal to give up, to the refusal to stop occupying already occupied indigenous territory. And I want to call out to the listeners and the viewers. Show up for our unhoused folks who are refusing to stay down, to refusing to continue to be pushed away into nowhere. Because eventually, where are we going to go? Into their plantation, carted off neighborhoods that they got for us, into their so-called safe zones like Sheriff Joe did in the stolen areas of Arizona, when he set up barriers so that unhoused folks could be a target net every night between 12 midnight and 6 a.m. so that they all be tested and arrested before they started messing with our migrante warriors who are forced to cross these false borders, because yeah, that's intersectionality, mofo. We are all connected. As our sister Mama Blue says in her Poor People's Revolutionary Radio show, shout out to Mama Blue, shout out to Sister Save His Soul, shout out to Leroy Moore and Crip Hop Nason, shout out to all us liberators who refuse to ever give up. And shout out to my brothers and sisters in the unhoused nation. Remember, these streets don't belong to anybody except Mother Earth. Tlazo Kamatli, Donat Sin, Omukeo.
Say that music.